What's going on, everybody? It's Core here, and welcome back to another video with a little bit of a different topic. Specifically, today I'm going to be talking about Need for Speed Heat's DLC and how, in my opinion, it's quite scummy. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get straight into it. Recently, as I'm sure most of you know, Ghost Games, or Criterion at this point, released the first DLC for Need for Speed Heat. The DLC is called the Black Market Update, and it includes two cars. One of them is basically a car that's already in the game just with an open roof, and the other one is a car that hasn't been in the game already and costs real money. And that's it. Literally, that's it. These two cars get their own races, which are just basically reskins of existing races in the game, and they get their own like little story arcs and stuff, and that's it. You get a few bug fixes here and there and some, I hate saying this, quality of life improvements, and that's it. Well, to be honest, if it was just that, I wouldn't have been surprised, because Need for Speed games of recent years have not exactly had the best DLC model. Case in point, I'm gonna rewind you back to 2012 with Need for Speed Most Wanted by Criterion. When that game came out, a DLC pack came out called the Ultimate Speed Pack, and it featured various exotic cars, including the Hennessy Venom GT. And that was the fastest car in the game, which meant that if you wanted to win at multiplayer, you had to get the Hennessy Venom, which cost real money, and that made the game basically pay to win. Okay, fine. You know, that was 2012, we're now with a different developer, maybe things have changed. No, in Need for Speed Heat, the DLC car that's paid, the McLaren F1, costs $5 or €5, depending on which part of the world you come from. And, you know, that's messed up, because we spent the longest time making fun of Need for Speed Payback and how it charged $4 for one car, excuse me, $3.99. And now here comes Need for Speed Heat charging $5 for one car, which, again, considering Need for Speed's not exactly brilliant DLC models, with the exception of Need for Speed 2015, again, didn't surprise me. Where my problem comes in is a video put out by Straight Up Hippo not too long ago, where he test drove the McLaren F1 on the track that he calls Gary. Let's take a look at a snippet from that video.
Right, we're going to take this nice and wide, and then on the inside, maybe a little bit better on that last one. There's a 249! I didn't see what that was. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is an RSR killer. 0.4 seconds off the V6 RSR.
Yes, the McLaren F1 is the second fastest car in the game, and it costs $5, which, again, that makes it pay to win, because it's the only car that can put up a fight to the overpowered Porsche 911 RSR. Which means that if you want to win at multiplayer races, if you can even call Need for Speed Heat's multiplayer, you have to pay $5. And this is a problem, because this is completely inexcusable. First of all, just two cars and nothing else in terms of content, no PvP, no endgame, no major improvements 3 or 4 months into the game's life cycle. That's insane. Although they do have an alibi for this, which is that Need for Speed development is switched back to Criterion. But even then, this is far too much time for just two cars, out of which one is overpowered, and you basically have to pay $5 in order to be competitive at multiplayer. And it gets worse, because whereas the McLaren F1 is the second fastest car in the game, the free car, the Aston Martin DB11 Volante, is the slowest car in the game around that same track. I'm not kidding, it really is. Even with the best engine swap, it's the worst car in the game, and it's free. That's pretty horrible. I'm not gonna lie to you, that is pretty horrible DLC practices. Here's my problem. Over the years, video games have proved, racing games as well, that this can be done differently. it's time to take you back in time once again to 2009. When Rockstar released Midnight Club Los Angeles South Central, which was the first and only expansion, sadly, for Midnight Club Los Angeles, and it was a much better way of doing things. First of all, the map expansion was free, regardless of whether or not you bought the DLC, which was an add-on car pack. You get a new map, which means more races, and not only that, but the car pack, which was the only paid part of the DLC, featured 9 cars, which added 2 new car classes into the game. Do you know how much that car pack cost? $10. And here's Need for Speed charging $5 for 1 car. That works out at about, the Midnight Club LA pack works out about just over $1 per car. Here's another way of doing things. Gran Turismo Sport. As you know, every single DLC car in the game is completely free. Which is ridiculous because if they can do it, why can't anybody else? So basically the message I'm trying to send here is Need for Speed's DLC model needs a serious rethink if they want to be competitive in the arcade racing scene. Every game has figured out a better way of doing DLC, and this is just unacceptable. Not only charging $5 for a single car, not even Forza does that. Not only are they charging $5 for 1 car, they made that car the second fastest car in the game and the only car that's competitive with the overpowered one, which has been overpowered for 4 years. Going forward, Need for Speed's DLC, I mean, it's too late for Heat to change its DLC model because they already have more car packs in the pipeline, but the next game, next year, needs a serious DLC rethink, something along the lines of Midnight Club LA. Even if the cars have to be paid, at least have the courtesy not to make them so that they're the only ones competitive in multiplayer. And I'm not expecting the cars in multiplayer to be balanced again in the next game. I gave up on that a long time ago because if they couldn't balance them for 4 years, why would they balance them now? But give the DLC model a serious rethink and give people actual content instead of just cars. The cars' own story arcs, they last for about an hour and they're all races that you've already done in the game, which means that after you're done with those cars, there's nothing else to do. So yeah, Need for Speed's DLC model basically needs a serious rethink, otherwise it's not really gonna stay competitive in the arcade racing scene. And that would be about it for this rant video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you agree with me. If you don't, tell me why in the comments below, and tell me why you do agree with me if you do, again, in the comments below. And that about wraps up today's video. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.